And we're live everywhere except for Substack, which fucking sucks. And I'm sorry, guys. I have spent the last 10 minutes troubleshooting this problem, trying to get this going on Substack. If you are watching this on Substack right now, you are watching the recording. I am sorry, guys. I tried so hard to get this going, but we just got to get moving. It's getting late. It's time to move on. So, like I did the last time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out the full stream for free for everybody, the full recording. However, usually I put up a free 30-minute preview for everybody. And if you want to watch the full recording, you have to be a paid subscriber at bravenewnormal.substack.com. It's $5 a month or $50 for the year. With your paid subscription, you receive early access to every episode of the Brave New Normal podcast, exclusive paid-only essays, and, of course, full access to all of the live stream recordings with the beautiful Peyman Askari. But today, because Substack dropped, and Substack is where paid subscribers sign up to watch the recordings of these, and there's only a recording available, I'm making this free for everybody. Fuck it. Just put it out there for free. If you guys are going to sign up anywhere, if you guys are going to follow me or Peyman anywhere, sign up at bravenewnormal.substack.com. I usually say this at the end, but I'm going to start saying this at the beginning. Peyman Askari is the best political analyst and commentator this country has ever produced, bar none, period. If you are not subscribed to Peyman yet, make sure you do so. inlayterms.substack.com. Inlay Terms is his podcast. He has another daily live stream series that he does with JP Berg called Politics. Both shows are more than worth your time. So sign up at inlayterms.substack.com. There's other shit, but I'm too fucking frustrated right now. Sorry, guys. Substack is not working with the live stream today. I don't know what's going on. I was having trouble earlier when I was trying to post on Substack. So something's wrong with Substack today. Recording will go up there, and I'm going to put it up free for everyone. Fuck it. Peyman Askari, you beautiful son of a bitch. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's Friday. Weekend's finally here.
Yeah, I don't understand why this, like, it's always one. You know, what was it? A couple of weeks ago, we couldn't get YouTube going. We couldn't get X going. And those two don't really matter. Substack is the most important because that is where people subscribe directly. Like, I get it, YouTube people. I know you hit the subscribe button, you watch the podcast and all that. And I appreciate that shit. But Substack is the one that is most important for me. And it's because there's a newsletter function. It's where I'm able to talk about things and get in contact with people who are regular readers of mine, who are regular viewers. Substack is the central point of focus for me. So it is a real bummer when I can't get this stuff going on Substack. And so I wanted to talk about something. And we were talking about this before this fucking bungled live stream went up. X today has decided to end their ad share revenue program, which is fucking beautiful. It's the best thing that could have happened for that platform because there is just so much slop. There's so much garbage on X, and most of it is driven by bot accounts that are just stealing other people's stuff and doing it to drive ad share revenue, right? So whenever something happens, whenever there's an event, sure enough, all of the bot accounts start spamming everything with videos from that event, and they're just stealing millions of dollars from X and ad share revenue. So what they're doing is they're moving over to what I think they're calling like creator revenue, which means guys like us, we're fine because we produce original content, but all of the bots and the spam accounts are fucked. And I'm so happy to see that.
So I never heard of this. What you're saying is if I share, for example, let's say I'm a bot or a grifter, and I share something from the BBC and I get 2 million views, I don't get the ad revenue off of that. Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you say, for example, like you can share other people's videos and stuff, but if it isn't yours, like if it doesn't belong to you, if it isn't your original content, and I think what they're probably doing is they're using algorithms to track down like the original poster of whatever is out there. So if you aren't like the original person, if you're not the original creator of the content, you're no longer getting paid for it, which is going to, I would imagine, cut out like 95% of the garbage we see daily on. I mean, what I've noticed with X, like, there's a lot of problems with X, and there's another problem that I'm going to talk about next. But the big problem that I've seen with X is that as of like Friday afternoon, X just turns into just garbage. Like it's just clips from movies, and like it turns into TikTok pretty much. And then it's like that all the way up until Monday morning, and then the regular algorithm restarts again. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because the algorithm figures that on the weekends, like, people don't want to engage with other stuff, right? But like they just want like just useless TikTok bullshit. But this will get rid of most of that because nobody's going to be able to make money on it anymore.
I use X. Like if you call me, you're like, Payman, we're going live in an hour. Do you have any ideas for topics? And I panic and I go check my feed. I see like the top 3 news items. I'll pull those out. Everything else, I just feel like it's the CIA has hijacked my feed. And I know that sounds like over the top, but it just seems like all these bots. It's like $1 billion bot farming operation. This is not your mom and pop operation out of India.
Well, we know that there's a lot of foreign interests involved, right? Like, we know that there's a lot of foreign interference on social media, particularly X. Like, it's the main channel for propaganda now, because X is where breaking news hits first, where it breaks ground, and then it travels from there. So all of these nefarious actors, these foreign interests, their main point, like their main point of interference is through X. And I would imagine also through TikTok as well. I'm just too old to use TikTok. I don't give a shit about it. I don't use it for anything. But X is the main point of entry. So I mean, that's a huge problem. And I don't think any ad share revenue program is going to change that, right? Because it's a huge it's just it's a huge benefit to these foreign enemies who want to influence the public. I don't think they care about the money, but there are a lot of people, bot accounts and spam accounts, who perpetuate the stuff, because once it gains traction and there's a lot of people paying attention, then all of the bot and the spam accounts jump on to grab a piece of that engagement, and thus the dollars that come from it.
It'll be funny if communist China, it's not cash flow positive for them anymore to engage in propaganda because they can't reshare Jason James's video clips. With that ad revenue removed, they're doomed.
Like, no more Sam Cooper.
Yeah, they got to send to take you out. Like, if we can't have that money, and Jason can't either.
Well, and the other topic I wanted to suggest or to talk about. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just so frustrated. I'm trying to get over my frustration right now. That's why I'm not really articulating myself very well. The other thing that I want to talk about, I don't know if you saw this video today, but there was this black dude. I can't remember where he was. Oh, North Carolina. And he was just walking around punching women. And he knocked this one girl like out cold. Like, and then while she was out cold, started slapping her in the face while she was on the ground. That was the big thing on X today anyways. But I watched the video, and now all my news feed is just racist slop. Just racism. Like, the algorithm, I am convinced, is tuned to send you that type of content if you engage with anything like that. Anything to do with race, it is, I am almost positive it is finely tuned to send you just race baiting propaganda the moment you stop on a video like that. Because I watched it, and then I was like, oh my God, like it's so bad that it actually makes your stomach turn watching this girl get like knocked out cold. But then for the rest of the day, like, it was just racism. Like, my entire X feed was just race baiting garbage. So I'm positive that the algorithm is designed to feed people that type of content.
Yeah, like on the one hand, it could be. So I don't know, some sort of psychological sort of manipulation. On the other hand, even if it wasn't, the people that pay for these bots, they would find some way to game it to get you that content. It's like I watch a lot of Instagram. I think I told you this. So you watch like 10 Instagram videos of ICE agents like just beating the crap out of liberals. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then one accidentally slips through with some girl with like a pink hair and a septum ring is ripping into the ICE and how, no one is illegal on stolen lands. Every video thereafter, it's like left wing, mom dummy woke nonsense. So one slips through in your case. I guess it was the racist one.
Yeah.
And it's just racist garbage. And I fell victim to that too. Daniel Tyree of the Dominion Society, something happened between him and one of their former founders, Greg Wycliffe. I don't know what it was. We're starting to get all of this hate. I did an interview with him like a year and a half ago. And there's like all of this like hate comments on there. Peyman Askari, how could you interview this guy? He's a terrible person. He beat up this woman, and then when she was unconscious, he choked her out or something. And I'm like, dude, there's like 30 views on this video. Why would you even bother?
Did he actually do that though, or what was is that just another exaggeration?
Honestly, I didn't even bother Googling it to check. It seemed like it was over the top. He choked her out and then started punching her. I mean,
Yeah,
you usually do it in the other way. Like, why would you punch her after you've already choked her out?
I don't know, man. See that, and that's the problem. Like the hard thing is just defining what reality is through those portals, right? And what really scares me, man, and this is like a recurring theme on this live stream, and I'm sorry guys that I keep talking about it, but it just feels like we're getting further and further detached from some form of objective reality. Like, because we're so controlled by these algorithms. Like I said, like, dude, I watched that video. That video was maybe 90 seconds long. And then for the rest of the day, I would periodically open X, and it was just racism. Like, look at what black people are doing. You know, that was my entire feed for the whole fucking day after watching that one video. And so it makes me not want to engage with anything. I don't want to touch anything. And I'm like, fuck. So what I do now to trick the algorithm is I will specifically go to like different people's accounts, like Peyman Askari, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, and I'll like a bunch of their posts just to trick the algorithm into getting me back on track so that I can get stuff that I actually find, valuable and insightful. Otherwise, I'm just swimming in racism and anger and hate. And it's fucked, man. It's fucked to know that we are stewing in that and immersed in it all day, every day. And that the majority of the population have become accustomed to it to a degree where now that's just the normal daily life. That they just wake up, they open a platform, whether it's X or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, the algorithm knows what they like, and it just feeds them political propaganda, racism, hate, anger, or if you're on the left, it's just feeding you communist propaganda and, more anger, more hatred, more, white racism against white people, white supremacy propaganda. Like, it's just crazy to know that is what is informing us and helping us navigate through the world. It's like it's purposely steering us into the abyss.
It's gotten crazy though. Like this racism thing. First of all, Musk has to get this under control. Just from a product perspective, no one's going to use your site if it's just completely fake and gay. But compare this to 2020. Like the censorship on there was really, it was offensive, but it was reasonable from a communist perspective. Like if you want to get everybody to take the vaccine, anybody that uses the word COVID or vax, like you have to suppress the video. There's sort of a logic to it. It was an internal logic to it. Sorry, like you and I were sort of were against the COVID tyranny, but there was an internal logic to it. With this, I'm like, what the hell is the internal logic? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish by starting all of these like side quests, choose your own adventure, race wars?
Well, it's with the COVID thing, it's that when you believe you're the arbiter of truth and that it's a life or death scenario, then you're going to go to great lengths to make sure that an opposing viewpoint, the one that you view as being a conspiracy theory or incorrect or even deadly, doesn't reach sunlight. You know, like I understand. See, here's it. I understand it from that side, because the way they looked at it was, oh, these people are not getting the vaccine. These people aren't wearing masks. These people aren't socially distancing. They're going to kill a lot of people. If we don't stop them, they're going to kill a lot of people because they're ignorant and they're stupid. And so I understand that point of view, because on our side, we're doing the same thing. Now, we're not going to that length, but I look at like China's CCP propaganda, and I'm going to, my head, that's where my head is at right now, because I'm reading. So for one of my next essays, I'm going to do a dissection of the unrestricted warfare pamphlet. It's not even a pamphlet. It's actually a fucking book. It's 250 pages long. I haven't read it in years, and I'm reading it again, and it's super dry. It's translated from Mandarin, and I mean, it's as fascinating a read as you would imagine coming from two senior PLA colonels could be. Right? It's not an engaging read at all. But that's where my head is at. So I'll probably like use China as an analogy for a lot of things today. But you know, like I see the CCP propaganda being piped in through media, through academia, and like with the TikTok thing, that was a difficult one, because I'm a free speech absolutist. I believe that people should be free to say whatever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want. As long as they're not inciting violence against another person or another group, they should be able to express their viewpoint. However, because we have that wide open society, those gaps has allowed for just insane amounts of propaganda to flow in. And China, in reading, just refreshing my memory with rereading Unrestricted Warfare, they took full advantage of that, right? Like Unrestricted Warfare, it was originally written as a handbook by two PLA colonels, and then China published it like a few years later via an obscure Panamanian publisher. I don't know why they published it for the world to read, because it basically lays out their entire military and attack strategy. But essentially what the premise of the book is, it's all predicated on this idea that the world changed after the Gulf War in 1991, that conventional war was over, and that that the next superpower would be the one that engages in war through unconventional means. Right. So these two PLA colonels are essentially, what they're doing is they're making the argument for what China did over the last 30 years, which is just total subversion. Right? Whether it's academia, the political systems, right? Like you look in Canada, I mean, they have full control of the Liberal Party and partial control of the Conservatives. So they're just detailing exactly what they're going to do right around the time that they were doing it, because it was written in 99. My earliest memory of like seeing the first like wave of attack from China in Richmond was 96. But what they lay out in plain English, well, plain Mandarin translated into English, is this multi-pronged attack, and most of it through subversion, through subverting of institutions, bureaucracies, popular culture, media, so on and so forth, right? To surround you with propaganda. So when you talk about like TikTok or these other channels like WeChat, where the propaganda is flowing into our country, do you make is that an avenue where you compromise and say, yeah, maybe free speech isn't the way here? I don't know. But from my perspective, I look at that as, this is speech that has to be stopped, because it's propaganda and it's dangerous to our societies. However, on the same level, if you're a free speech absolutist, then those people should be free to say whatever they want.
I was a free speech absolutist during COVID. I mean, look at 2020. I keep going back to that year, 2020 to 2025. It was just pivotal few years. It was very dark, but we had hope. And I'm trying to figure out why. And I think it's because we were unified against the common enemy. Justin Trudeau, he was sort of the personification for evil for the people that were relegated to a second class status. and everybody was on the same page. There was no factionalization. There was no purity test. Everybody got along. And I think Carney coming in, they probably realized this a few years before Trudeau left, but he's taken that away from us now, where people are fracturing. So you have people like me that are more libertarian. You have people that are anti-Islam. You have people in the intel, not just you, but in the intel space that
Mm.
are focused on China as the biggest threat. You have people that have like terminal Trump derangement syndrome. So it's completely fractured. And I look at this concept of free speech absolutism. It just can't work. Like especially in the social media space, you can't just let everybody talk about whatever they want. Like look at X. It's
Yeah.
like the Tower of Babel, man. Everybody's saying something completely different. So either you have to get rid, I can't believe I'm saying this, either you have to censor people, censor speech, take away free speech, or you have to at least treat attacks from foreigners, principally your adversaries like China, Iran, or whatever you want to call it, but even America, like you have to treat it as like an act of aggression. So you say people from outside, you can't come in and manipulate us. So what am I talking about? Like NGOs, like people, you can't have foreign countries funding NGOs and then the NGOs influencing your internal domestic politics. That's like one thing. You can't have foreigners owning the infrastructure like X. It's hard to explain this right now because we're in Canada, we're in a totalitarian, dictatorial, upside down tyrannical regime. So having someone like America come in and take over our free speech infrastructure is actually a plus. But in normal times, you would not want America to do that because then they could influence your elections and your economy and everything.
Yeah, but then you're on a slippery slope, because then who is the problem is look, if we had a version of objective reality that we all agreed was the real objective universe, then maybe we could create some guardrails just in terms of speech and defining what propaganda is and defining what ideas are actually truly dangerous to our society. But we're not there anymore, and that's the fucked up part. Right? Like what we have right now in Canada, I mean, the United States is a different story under Trump, but in Canada what we have is this tyrannical liberal government that has decided that they know what's best, that they are the arbiters of truth. Now, I don't doubt that there are people within the Liberal Party, within that bureaucracy, and not just the MPs, I'm talking about the people behind the scenes, who believe that, calling a trans person, a trans activist, a groomer is dangerous and is a form of inciting violence against an entire group of people. I don't doubt that they believe that. And so in their minds, they are the ones who are going to determine what is safe and what is unsafe for the public. And what they determine as being unsafe just so happens to impede yours and mine and millions of other people's ability to engage freely. So what happens if the roles reverse? Right? What happens if you get like not a Pierre Poilievre conservative, but like a libertarian candidate becomes prime minister of Canada, and the pendulum swings the other way? Right? What do we determine? How do we define hate speech then? Is it speech against Christians? Is it speech? Is it you know what I mean? Like the thing is it's always going to be subjective because we no longer have an objective reality. And actually, this takes us into what I wanted to talk to you about today, which is the poison pill of multiculturalism. Because I'm the more I think about this subject and the more I work on it in my own writing, the more I'm coming to realize that it's far more insidious than we know. And that even people like you and I are acknowledging, because it's difficult to say, because once you say multiculturalism, you automatically attach it to race, or immigration. But although they are conducive to each other, they're not exclusive. And I think this idea that these numerous cultures can exist side by side when they are naturally in conflict with one another is what's driving a lot of our disconnection from the objective universe. Plus, when you add in algorithms, we're all in our own individual silos, right?
Man, I'm glad you brought this topic up. So you have like topical differences with multiculturalism. Somebody's got a funny towel on his hat. Somebody else smells like rose water. Somebody's got one wife. The other one's got four, or I can't remember what the number is for. Is it three or four? Do you know?
Yeah.
Um, then you have, like, I always say there's an internal multiculturalism in Canada. Like you have, I call it the countrysides and the urban centers, but you could do the charter. I think it's 15.1 equality, 15.2 equity.
Mm.
So 15.1 of the charter says everybody is, equal under the law, regardless of religion, sex, sexual preference, ideology, handicap. And then 15.2 says, yes, but the government can protect groups based on those very same qualities: religion, sex, handicap, things like that. And that's two completely different ways of thinking about it. And what you were alluding to earlier, the a libertarian gets in, things might change. I think that's what people refer to as like live by the sword, die by the sword. So if you get control of the government and you use that government to attack your opponents, then your opponents might take control of the government. But then it gets like, if you don't stand for something, if a house isn't united, and if you're not using your government powers as a weapon against anybody that's against you, I think ultimately you are going to get taken over. And I'll give you an example. Eric Weinstein, I think his name, he gave a fantastic speech in support of how to use the First Amendment to kind of silence free speech. And he said, in the preamble, it says, we the people, we believe in these inalienable rights endowed to us by our creator. And he said, that right there tells you those are not up for debate. Like if somebody comes in and they're a communist or a radical Islamist, we're not debating that. We're not relitigating that. You don't get to use the First Amendment to attack those core principles. And I struggle with this as well, but I really think that being weak and opening yourself to multiculturalism, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I agree with you. Like, I think it's insidious.
I think it's way more insidious than we understand it. Like so part of my racist news feed today, I saw a video of a white guy getting fucking mobbed by a pack of Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan. He was holding up a sign that said, I think it's like Jesus is king or something.
I saw
Now,
that. Yeah.
I disagree with this because everybody knows what you're doing, right? That is agitprop. You are purposely agitating a group of people. It's the same as, and this is coming from a Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. But when you're standing in the middle of a majority Muslim town, which should not be majority Muslim because it's still America after all. But when you're standing in the middle of a town that now happens to be majority Muslim and ran by an Islamic city council, and you're holding up a sign that says Jesus is king, they know that you're doing that purposely to agitate them. And you're basically putting that out there as bait, and you are using Jesus as bait, which, by the way, Jesus is mentioned in the Quran, and in Islam, they do believe he was a prophet, right? So that you got to put that into context as well. It's not like these people hate Jesus Christ or anything, but they're reacting to something. And what you're doing is you're trying to bait a reaction. However, at the same time, what the fuck? Like, we can't allow this to happen, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, look, the guy's an asshole. It's like that dude, Billboard Chris. He's from Vancouver, where you and I are from. I've seen him at times where I've been back in Vancouver or before I left, walking up and down Robson, which is the main strip in downtown Vancouver, with a sign that says, like, boys can't be girls or something. You are purposely agitating. You are not trying to start a discussion or a conversation. You are purposely baiting a reaction. But he's free to do it. So the question is, where do you draw the line?
It's a good question. You asked me once, why is it that these cultures, I think we were talking about Muslim youth, Why is it that they're engaging in higher rates for sexual assault, for example? Like, what is it about it? Is in their DNA? And I didn't give you a good answer, but I'm reading this book by former CIA agent, Goodbye Europe, Hello Chaos. What's his? Michael Springman. Use promo code Peyman, you get 10% off. uh, eh,
What's the website? What's the website, Peyman?
yeah, Amazon.com/payment. Yeah. The guy says that what he points that out. He goes, these guys come from a hardcore background, and if they touch a woman inappropriately, like a cop is going to start beating the crap out of them. Like they'll just start beating them with a bat, and that's how they know something is wrong. Then you come to the West where they treat you with kid gloves. Like you have the right to remain silent. May I approach you? Are you carrying a weapon, sir? And they don't see the same sort of deterrence, so they don't know what's wrong. So they will beat the crap out of that guy that says Jesus is king, and then they'll look at you, not you specifically, but somebody who's a Christian, white American, and if you go into their urban center and you have a sandwich sign that says Muhammad is king, and nobody does anything, they'll be like, this is like stealing candy from a baby. Like that, they operate in carrots and sticks, and if there's no sticks, they'll just keep pushing. So I side with that guy. I understand what you're saying. It is agitprop, and I mean, like, you do stupid things, you win stupid prizes. But holy crap, man! Like, that beatdown was severe. The police showed up and they were still beating the guy.
They were throwing stones at him and shit. And like, what's scary about this is that it's real and it's here now. And I think everybody is afraid to approach this subject because race automatically gets attached to it. I mean, even the algorithm. Once I was in the racist algorithm, that's what it fed me. That was one of the videos. So even the algorithm is associating this video, this instance of a white dude being beaten to a fucking pulp by a pack of Muslims for deliberately agitating them. The algorithm is associating that with racial division, right? And I think what we have to do is we have to start to pick that apart, right? And start to say, like, I was thinking about it this week. Okay, how do I define what side I'm on? And I would say I am on the side of multiracialism. I think a healthy society includes a multitude of races and people from all around the world, from different cultures, who come here, who can maintain their traditions. However, there is one central axiom that we all follow, which in the West would be Mosaic law, right? Would be the 10 Commandments. That's what our entire legal system is built out of, right? Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, right? Like just basic principles. But if we can all agree, left, right, black, white, Iranian, Métis, we can all agree and say, this is our core set of values that we all follow, that we all adhere to. And if people arrive here who are not willing to follow this core Christian ethical route, then I'm sorry, you can't be here. And it doesn't matter what color you are or what part of the world you're from. If you cannot follow this foundational set of ethics and principles, if you're following a separate set of rules, for example, like Sharia law, you cannot be here, right? So you need to pledge allegiance to this foundation that our society is built out of. Doesn't matter what color you are. And if you can't do that, then you can't be part of this.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And so you mentioned the Mosaic principles. I'd never heard that. Is that like the biblical principles?
Yeah, it's just Mosaic law, the 10 Commandments, right? So,
okay.
Right,
so
like
you got
the ones we all know.
Yeah, like you have Mosaic principles, the 10 Commandments, and then you got Sharia law, and that creates fundamental differences. But then there's also differences, even if your foundation is the same. Take Canada and Russia. Russia post 1991, like, those people were tough. They were battle hardened. You can't bring those people to Canada. Again, it's like putting a toddler in the ring with a heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
and it's the same with the Middle East. Like a lot of the people that grow up there, especially the men, they grow up tough. Like you get into fist fights. You're constantly getting into like massive brawls. And my cousin told me a story where he went to the wrong town. There were 10 of them. They thought they'd be safe, and like there's like 50 motorcycles jumped on top of him and beat the crap out of them all.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is you brought up a really good point, because I was writing this week, and then I went to use Africa as an example, right? And I was thinking Somalians, Nigerians, right? Nigerians are at least most that are immigrating into North America are Christian. They have, I mean, far higher standards than we do. Like, I don't know if you've ever met Nigerian kids, but they're the most well-behaved children, period.
Yeah.
Right. Same goes for Kenyans, South Africans. Like but they fit. It's like Filipinos, and I'm not just saying that because my wife is Filipino. They fit because their foundation is the same. It's Christian. So even if they themselves are not Christian, their culture is unknowingly influenced by Christianity, and therefore they fit into our society perfectly. Whereas Somalians, I think most Somalians are Muslim, and they tend to push more against our cultural values. But then I thought about Ethiopians, and Ethiopia is a majority Christian country. At least it was at one point. I don't know what the mix is now. I'd imagine it's probably 50-50 Muslim and Christian. But even Ethiopian Christians have a different cultural standard. So that's very similar to like what you're saying with, say, for example, battle-hardened, Soviet era Russians, right? Like although they're most of them are Orthodox Christians and have the same ethical foundation, there's something else going on in the culture that is causing them to move in a different direction. And I feel like it's the same way with Ethiopians in a lot of cases too. And this isn't an indictment of Ethiopian people, right? Like what we're doing here in this conversation is we're kind of unfairly generalizing entire groups of people. But like just watching, for example, what's happened in Toronto, I mean, what's happened in Vancouver with China, and what's happening all across Canada with Sikh immigrants, right? Like when you have a culture that is rooted in something other than your own value system, you can't expect them to not conflict with each other. And that's what we're experiencing here. And I think we have to really rethink multiculturalism and perhaps put more of an emphasis on the expectation that when people arrive here, they're going to assimilate into Western Christian culture. Not because I want you to be a Christian or force my religion on you. It's because those principles at the root are what you need to follow in order to be successful as a member of our society.
So let me start right off the bat by saying that I agree with you. So whatever makes Canada Canadian, whatever made it Canadian, is what this country needs to keep enforcing. So we used to call that assimilation. Now, what is it that made Canada Canadian in the 60s? I think you're absolutely right. It was Christianity. It was like the foundation. It was the culture. Like you could not separate it from the culture. Now, I think the problem is for several decades since the 60s, that culture has been eroded. It's been eroded through multiculturalism. It's been eroded from stepping away from God and Christianity. It's been eroded through debt. It's been eroded through this new culture of, I just call it woke. People can call it whatever they want, but this whole DEI nonsense, right? And multiculturalism, it just feeds off of that woke thing. So it's, I'm setting the foundation so people don't think I disagree with you. I 100% agree with you that those things were good and abandoning them are bad. Where I'm starting to wonder is whether it's not so much that Christianity is different from Islam. And I stress this: Canada needs to remain Christian. I don't want it to become Muslim. But in Canada, in the 60s, you had parental rights. In the Middle East, up until, I don't know, the 90s or 2000s, you had parental rights. It's the destruction of what made Canada great, which was Christianity, which was parental rights, which was property rights. Let's just focus on parental rights. it's the destruction of that which has destroyed Canada. Like, and if you want me to give an example, I think Canada got destroyed way earlier than Iran, for example, which is my only other comparison. So we've destroyed the concept of the family unit, which is a part of Christianity. We destroyed the concept of having children and taking care of your children, which is a part of Christianity. We've destroyed the concept of your home as your castle. And I think if you go even further back to England, you get this concept of feudalism, which is vilified now, but there was a social cohesion. So people that owned the land, the aristocracy, they had a responsibility to the people. They couldn't just take advantage of them like a fucking banker giving a mortgage and then calling in the mortgage and making people bankrupt.
Yeah, that's fascinating, man.
There's a lot in there. I'm sorry.
No. That's perfect, dude. You gave me a lot to chew on. Cause like I've been working through, I'm writing like multiple different things at the same time. And I kind of keep going back and forth as ideas pop into my head. It's just this multiculturalism one is difficult to dissect. It's difficult to pull apart because it's not just the religious foundation or the spiritual foundation, but it's also the historical experience of a culture as well, right? Which I think is what sets Ethiopians and Eritreans aside, right? Or say, for example, like Moroccans, that we saw what's happening with that tiny little Spanish, which is another thing that drove me. I didn't know anything about that area, right, in Northern Africa. I didn't know that was a Spanish territory. So when I saw, I don't even know how to pronounce the place, Ceuta, Spain, I just assumed it was in Spain because I'm a fucking idiot. And I reposted that video of like thousands of people washing up on shore. And thankfully, somebody saw it like within seconds of me posting it. It was like, hey, man, and took a screenshot of a map with an arrow pointing to where that place actually is. And I was like, oh, no shit. And I just deleted it, which doesn't make it any better because it's still a Spanish territory, but it's in Africa, right? It's not people like washing up on the European shore and just dispersing throughout the continent. It's still within Africa. It doesn't mean it's a good thing, and it doesn't mean that the Spanish residents of that territory need to experience what they're experiencing right now. But what I'm saying is the way that the video was pushed out there was misleading to begin with. And then, of course, lots and lots of idiots like me who didn't take 2 seconds to Google it before they, added in their dumb fucking opinion. And the whole thing just spread with very, a very small amount of people actually knowing where that place actually was. Right. But yeah, there's like there's a number of components. There's a number of pieces, and I think the thing that you zeroed in on and what you said, which was really important, is weak cultures, right? Like our culture has been so weakened, and I maintain that our cultures in the West have been weakened by a strategic and calculated attack by foreign actors, namely China, but others as well, Iran, Russia, that entire axis has weakened us to a degree via ideologies that have made us believe that our own culture is naturally oppressive and therefore must make way for others. And now this is just kind of the product of that, and that we need to start looking at back to our own culture and going, no. We're not barbarians. Like, we built the greatest societies on earth. The United States is the greatest superpower the world has ever known for a reason. And we need to get back to that shit. Now, that doesn't mean white supremacy. It doesn't mean white nationalism. Everybody is free to be here, but we need to start putting our foot down and going, no, I'm sorry. If you came here, that means you didn't like it where you were. So you need to abandon all of that stuff that comes from over there and be part of this thing, or no, you can't come here.
You're my age. You have fleeting memories of the Yugoslav conflict, the Bosnian War.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really occurred to me that was sort of a pivotal moment in history until I read, the book I was showing you earlier. The Yugoslav War, the 2015 migrant crisis, the disastrous Biden administration and the border crisis. And then I think those three things really just shook the West and we're still trying to figure out who's behind it, whether it's China or NATO. But when this thing happened in Ceuta or wherever it is in the north of Africa, I saw that and I got really scared. Now I've made so many mistakes that, like you did, where I was like, I'm definitely not reposting this for a week. And I Googled it on a map. I'm like, holy crap, John, Spain is in Africa. That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
But that scared a lot of people. And two other things I'll mention. One other thing, do you remember the 2015 mass sexual assault incident in Germany during the Christmas event?
Yes, I do.
I had almost forgotten about it. Like it was a horrific event. It was during the Angela Merkel thing where a bunch of North Africans, they're Muslim youth, but the police start getting in reports all across Germany that they're massive, like groping women, sexually assaulting them, cornering them. A few of them actually did get like raped, and they buried it. Angela Merkel buried it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They wanted some sort of mass migration event. The second thing I'll mention, why the hell, if America is a Christian country, why the hell is the Red Cross, a Christian organization, on the border facilitating illegal immigration through these NGOs into the US? Like, that to me is treason. They should give them twice the penalty, at least with some jihadists, like they think they're helping their cause. But why is the Red Cross hurting its own people?
And that's a really good question, man. And I would say follow the money. You know what's weird is like let's use George Soros as an example, right? I was on Carla Treadway's podcast this week, and she asked a question that I've really been thinking about and really trying to answer in my writing, because if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of a retard, so it's easier for me when I can sit down and write out my thoughts and kind of map things out. But she asked just in passing, she was like, why? Like, why are they doing this? Like, why does George Soros and the Open Society Foundation, why are they funding this chaos? What do they get out of it? Is it purely ideological, or is there some, villainous, satanic, global conspiracy? What is it? I don't know. Why would you destroy your own country this way? Is it just that everybody's on the, China's payroll, and this is just like the final phase of their unrestricted warfare strategy? Is this just what globalism actually produces? I don't fucking know, because I look at stuff and like for example, the Germany thing, right? Now you have to look at it. I try to look at things from the opposing viewpoint to see if I can understand the mentality. Now, let's just say that people from poor Islamic nations don't have a lower view of women than, say, you or I. That in those places, within those cultures, women are treated equally, which they're not. But let's just say that. Well, you arrive in this country, and for the first time, like, women are walking around in like mini skirts and with their tits hanging out, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, you don't know how to control yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe you misinterpret the way they're dressed because of the culture that you grew up in, because of where you're from. You misinterpret the way that they dressed as an invitation. Let's just say that. That's the most innocent way to approach this. And maybe that's true for some, but it's still not okay. Right? Like, if where you're from, women have to wear scuba gear to go out to the fucking farmer's market, to the market and buy vegetables, then maybe you're just not equipped to be part of this. I'm sorry to say that. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I think everybody should be welcome, but like, if you're gonna get a boner the minute you walk off the plane because women are wearing low-cut shirts and you interpret that as an invitation, that doesn't mean that they have to make that excuse for you. It doesn't mean that they have to endure your abuse just because you're not from where they're from. No, I'm sorry. That's the culture that they're from, and you are arriving here as a guest. So if you are unaware of the cultural norms and the place in which you are immigrating to, then get the fuck out.
No, you're right. You brought this up the first time, the first interview you and I ever did, where you said if they commit a violent crime, we got to bounce their ass out. They go to jail first, and then we kick them out. Do you remember the movie Demolition Man?
Yeah, I do.
Remember Wesley Snipes? He wakes up in the future. He's like this, hardcore criminal in the society of pacified beta cuck males. He's just going around beating up guys that don't know how to fight
And
back.
I have no idea how to deal with them.
Yeah, it's the same thing in Canada. I'm like, like the 1973 Immigration Act reforms under Trudeau, where they said instead of bringing people in from Europe, principally England, Scotland, Ireland, to the entire world. Well, that works if you can they're only like a fraction of a percentage of your country. Not
Right.
when you bring in like 1.2 million people that are hardcore tough guys, and you bring in and all these like gamer loser, the male boob soy boys.
Yeah.
They can't fight back.
Well, and in the movie, that's why they have to thaw out Sylvester Stallone, right? Because they're like, we don't know how to deal with this. Like, we don't know how to deal with this type of behavior. So they have to bring somebody from the past.
Yeah, we don't have a Sylvester Stallone. We got to bring in Don Cherry or someone.
but it's what's funny is I often think about Demolition Man because I always think about the Dennis Leary character and his group that live underground, and they're like very much like the naturalists of the time. They're not into.
They're the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, they're us in the future, right? And they live in the sewers or whatever. And I often think about that, like, is that what the future holds for us, for people who reject like central bank digital currencies and digital IDs? Like, are we gonna just end up living in the fucking tunnels underground,
eating the rat burgers? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because is that what the future holds if we don't stop this? It's. I think about that movie all the time. But
actually, they had a hate speech legislation. Remember that machine? Every time you swear, you get a ticket.
Yeah. Like it's supposed to be a utopian society, but what it is in reality is it's a dystopia. And the Dennis Leary character is in the movie he's the perspective of the audience, right? Like he's the one who's saying, like, who's telling the audience, like, no, this isn't utopia, this is dystopia, this is hell, right? Like we are truly free. Like we may live in the fucking tunnels underground, but we're actually free, right? Man, I'm gonna have to watch that movie again tonight.
Jason James flexing your literary muscle. You can identify all the literary tools in a movie.
Oh, well, I'm a writer, so I look for authorship and everything. That, like, this is gonna sound so pretentious and so snobby, but I ruin movies in my own head all the time because I can see the devices, the narrative devices that they're using, and I'm like, oh, I know exactly where this is going to go. And it's not even the ones that are predictable. I can predict plot twists because I can watch the narrative devices develop, and oh yeah, this guy's actually the bad guy.
Your wife must hate going to the movies with you.
Yeah, he was actually dead the whole time.
You ruined what is it? You ruined The Usual Suspects for your wife. Yeah.
She fucking hates watching movies and television with me. She hates it. We can't watch movies together because I'm always like, something will happen. I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, shut the fuck up. Because I'm like, oh, it's so obvious now. Like, you guys ruined it with this little plot twist. Like, now I know exactly what's going to happen anyways. But yeah, no, dude, I got to watch that movie again. I was thinking the other day about, have you ever watched, what is it? Space Odyssey, Space Odyssey 2001.
I actually haven't watched it.
Dude, watch it. Dude, you're out in the fucking Florida swamps. Do some shrooms or smoke some weed and watch it. Actually, no, not in the swamp. Go into town. Don't do it by yourself.
Walk into the bayou. Yeah.
But back on subject here. Like I just think that the more that I think about it, the more I work through the concept, the more I work through the idea, I think we have to get tougher and more strict. And, like, not to a degree where like JD Vance and the Republicans in the US want to like reintroduce the 10 Commandments into the classroom. I think that's pushing too far. But, just to a point where like we say, look, this is our standard. It is very easy to read our laws because there's only 10 of them, and that's everything stems out of that. And if you break any one of these 10 codes in any way from any angle, you're fucking out. We're not going to pay to put you in a cage. We're going to send you home, because clearly you are not, you just don't have the tools to survive here. And I just think that we have to, and it's, again, this isn't a white nationalist thing, because there are a lot of people in the West, including myself, who's half indigenous, and Peyman, who's Iranian, and lots of people here. I will say this, in my own community, within my own sample, the people who are most upset about these people from conflicting asymmetrical cultures entering our
Other
country
immigrants
are the Nigerians. They are the most pissed off. Like, they fucking had it. So maybe we just need to like push that Nigerians forward to stop the woke, radical left in their steps, right? And then just tell them, like, here, we both agree that these are the rules we need to follow. You please just introduce them. Just announce
just
them.
Run
You hold the bullhorn.
343 Nigerians, and just run them right through the parliament.
Exactly.
They clean house. Just one session, like 6 months. All of the bad bills are repealed. Everyone's in jail. The judges are removed. They intimidate the senators. They all resign.
Canada loses half its population. We're down to 20 million people. The Nigerians.
There's like a $200 billion surplus, which the Nigerians immediately steal, but whatever.
That would happen too. I tell you, man, of all the kids that I encounter, because I have 2 kids of my own, the Nigerian and the Jamaican kids, like the Caribbean kids, are the most, they are fucking deathly afraid of their parents. No. Like, it's so funny, because like liberals, are the ones, but when Black Lives Matter was a thing, they were the ones walking around in, traditional African garb and like kneeling at them. But it's actually the African and Caribbean immigrants who are the most conservative. Like, what I was going to say earlier is, like, what's interesting about, like, with all of these other cultures that have entered our country and have kind of created all of this cultural chaos, like, Muslims aren't down with Pride Month. You know what I mean? Like, they're like if you want to see how Muslims handle gay people, just go take a look at like Saudi Arabia or Syria or Iran. Like, it's not exactly like a DEI situation over there.
Man, I had to explain the word transphobia to my dad when Trudeau gave that infamous speech.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it. Like, there's no word for trans in Farsi. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. Just focus on the other two: racist and homophobe.
Well, what's interesting, man, is there's this relationship between the radical left and Islam that has existed for a long time. And the Iranian Revolution in 1979 is like analogous to how that story always ends, where they work together. So for people who aren't aware, they work together, they overthrow the people who are in power, and then the Muslims go, okay, you cannot be gay anymore. And the gay people are like, what? We're still gay. And they're like, you die. Bang.
Yeah. We have a final solution for that.
This is how it always goes, guys. Like, for all of the radical leftists out there, like, you think you're on their side and they're on your side. They're on your side until they get the power that they seek. And then if you decide to not follow their rules and their laws, which are way different than ours, you die. Bang. Or goodbye. They throw you off the roof. Like, but it's just crazy because they do the same thing every fucking time. But yet the radical left they fall for it every time.
They never learn. And it makes for good comedy every time. You're like, it's like you can predict how the plot's going to unfold. You just know how it's going to end.
This is a narrative plot point.
This guy's going to die. He's definitely going to die. Yeah. These 40,000 activists are going to die.
Yeah, every time. All these people who are in like these pro-Palestine marches with purple hair, I'm like, you're dead. You're already fucking dead. You're already dead.
Yeah, some like military age Moroccan guy that's got like 1% body fat versus this fat pink haired lesbian. Good luck.
Well, you know what's funny? There was another thing I saw before I looked at the video of the black dude punching out the white girl and my algorithm turning racist on me. I saw another video today of a guy who's like 300 pounds in a fucking red shirt with the yellow hammer and sickle on it, talking
I
about.
commented on that. Yeah.
I'm just like, how is this guy not putting together that like he's 350 pounds because of capitalism? Capitalism has produced the type of abundance that allows for him to become morbidly obese. You know, like what's funny to me is like fat communists. I'm like, you realize that you're fat because of what capitalism has produced for you, right? Like, if you're looking for like a quick way to lose a ton of weight, then yeah, maybe the
Well,
communists, you should hope the
hey,
communists would win.
in his defense, he's fat because of the welfare state, which is more communist.
I guess that's true. Yeah, but also he's fat because of free enterprise, because of Taco Bell and
I
McDonald's.
know,
And
I know, I get it. I'm just pointing out that his fat ass has never worked a day in his life.
that's true. So maybe communism is to his benefit because then he doesn't have to exert any energy. People like me and you can just keep paying for his lifestyle. All right, guys, let's go to the chat. I got to go for, speaking of fat, I got to go for a run. So there's no Substack today. Substack people, I am so fucking sorry. You guys are the center. You guys are the reason why this live stream exists. So I apologize to everybody who's watching the recording right now. We tried multiple times to get Substack, to get the live stream going on Substack, and it just wouldn't work. Substack was fucking up on me all day. So guys, this entire recording is free for everybody again this time, because I know that there are a lot of people who are paid subscribers who have, or just even free subscribers who have signed up so they can jump onto the stream while it's free. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that if they just can't afford one more subscription. I know I was in the same place for a very long time, so I get it. And because you weren't able to watch the full stream today, I'm putting out the recording for everybody for free once again. But let's go to the YouTube chat, see what we got in there, and then we'll call it. Hold on a second. And of course, the chat is not going to help me. Come on, give me the scroll bar. All right. Charlottetown says, good evening. I was trying to find you guys on Substack. No notification in sight. I know. I am so fucking sorry, Charlottetown. I was trying desperately to get this stream going on Substack. Substack would not connect to the to Riverside, the recording software that I use. I don't know if it's a Riverside problem or a Substack problem, but I think today it's a Substack problem because I was trying to post earlier the usual post that I put out going live with Peyman Askari, blah, 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 and Substack, it just wasn't posting. So I'm sorry, guys, but you're getting the full recording for free. Next week, next Friday, we go back to the free 30-minute preview. Randy says, good evening, gentlemen. Carney lies. Did I mention Carney lies?
What was that last one?
You know what, Peyman? I've been feeling more and more like Mark Carney is Canada's Nixon. What do you think about that comparison?
How so? Because some people think Nixon was a good guy. Other people think he was an idiot.
Yeah, but there's this thing that Republicans, that conservatives always do, is they look back in time and they deify their previous presidents, even though they fucking hated them at the time. And Nixon was a criminal, man. Like, he was geared toward keeping the Vietnam War going for as long as he could, because there was a lot of his buddies who were making money. I'm not going to go into it because we're in the comments now, but you know what? Maybe we'll talk about this next time. I really do.
I agree with you.
Like, what's that?
I agree with you.
Oh, Payment's like, move on. I agree.
No, I agree with you. But like you said, we're in the comments.
Yeah. Charlottetown said, the social media I use is YouTube and Substack, Facebook Marketplace. Too much to do, then waste time. Agreed. Renaud says, here. Yes, we agree with you as well. Randy says, Katy Perry kissed a girl and she liked it. That girl is Justin Trudeau.
Why would he? Yeah, I know. Like, if anything, he should have not dated her based on that one song.
Dude, whenever I see pictures of him now, I'm just like, I can't believe this guy was our little junior prince for however many years. Like, I can't believe he ever ran a country. Like, he's just this waif, this, I don't know. It's disturbing
Man,
to look at him, you know?
I respect his blackface more than I do that bunny hop he did in that music video.
Like, dude, I'm just like, part of me is like, maybe he's just like, fuck it. I'm just a little gay boy. I'm going to live my best life now that I'm out of politics. Like, you know, I'll Katy Perry, as my beard. We're going to pretend that she's my girlfriend and stuff. We'll take pictures together. And, meanwhile, I'm just being a little gay boy everywhere and I'm just going to be me. Part of me respects that. But the other part of me is like, how the fuck was this guy our prime minister for like 10 years?
It's embarrassing. It's disheartening. It's alarming. Like, how exactly? Like, how the hell can you have a country with this guy at the wheel?
I don't know. Charlottetown said biggest problem is his parents not parenting and not using common sense and speaking the truth. People are too scared to speak and being shunned. Yeah, agreed. Renault says countries with the least multiculturalism, Luxembourg, Denmark, are the countries with the least problems on the planet. And that, so I was exploring that a little bit in my writing this week, and that is it is a undisputed truth. Denmark is actually a really good example, as is, well, Holland is a little bit different, but Denmark is a really good example because it doesn't have a high level of immigration, and and it's not because they're white people. It's not because they're white. It's because they're the same, because they agree on the same things, because they hold the same values and the same principles. And actually, growing up, a very good friend of mine was Danish and had immigrated to Canada like in his teenage years. So his family were still very culturally Danish. Beautiful culture, man. Just like a beautiful, beautiful people, peace loving, love having a good time, love getting drunk and having fun. And so, but when you have a country full of like-minded individuals that are all kind of working together towards the same common goals, that's generally what happens. You produce like this amazing, peaceful society, right?
Well, the word I would use is homogenous, and you could have diversity within your country, like Spain before the mass immigration. It was diverse within the country, but it was homogenous nationally.
I mean, even look at Canada up until 2000.
Yeah.
That's another good example. Like Canada until the year 2000, we had
Yeah, that's a good point.
We at least had somewhat of a grasp on a national identity. But, I mean, what year did your parents immigrate to Canada? Like early 80s?
89.
89. So, like you are the result of that era of you're welcome to come here, you're welcome to be part of this, but you got to do things our way. And it works. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should need to go back to that. Yeah. Bro Cephas, love the name, Bro Cephas. Doesn't work. Everyone has in-group ethnic preferences at the end of the day. Everyone, moderate immigrants are just future apologists. Yeah, I mean, I go back to the idea that it's cultural and it's a litany of things, right? Cultures develop through a number of different channels, not just religion. But Peyman, were you going to say something?
If I understand correctly, he says all immigration is problematic. Is that correct?
He said moderate immigrants are just future apologists. Everyone has an in-group ethnic preferences at the end of the day, and we do.
I was going to point to the 1960s bilingual and bicultural commission that was encouraged by the massive Ukrainian population in Canada. Ukrainians are white, Ukrainians are Christian. If you let in people that are too many of them that are not you, it's going to cause problems in the future, even if they're somewhat like you.
That's it. This is a deeper discussion and a hard topic to unravel because there are so many different moving parts, right? It's not just a culture that grows out of a specific religion. It's a lot of other factors as well, right? Plus exposure to war, right? How exposed you are to a recurring sequence of traumatic events, right? That's part of it too. And that's what I was thinking, like when it came to the Somalians, right? Because they've been engaged in conflict for fucking ever. And so like when you encounter Somalian people, there's like this natural tension that they carry with them. And I think it's just being exposed to constant violence for their entire lives. So it's hard to, it's like for me, like, dude, I'm super, I'm trying to relax more. But as you see me completely implode whenever this live stream doesn't work, that's kind of the person I've always been. And so like when I go on vacation, it's hard for me to just and just relax because I'm so used to just being go, 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 go all the time. And so, that's a small, maybe even a shitty example of that mentality. But imagine growing up around bombs exploding and bullets whizzing past your head all the time. You're going to develop some psychoses and internal habits. However, that's no excuse for when you pick up your family and move to a new place. You
Yeah,
have to at least be peripherally aware of what that place is and the culture that exists there and do your best to assimilate to it, right?
man, you hit the nail on the head when you give the example of the Nigerians and the Filipinos. They're just more, the temperament is more similar to a Canadian's.
Well, they're just, and it's because they're Christian and they have
You're
Christian
probably
values.
right. Yeah.
It's just the Christian values, right? It's like, even like, look at the Filipinos, perfect example of this. Like, look at the part of the world that they're from. They're surrounded by Muslims or atheists. And yet...
Can I tell you a funny story?
Okay.
I was working in the Middle East when I was doing security, and I had this Turkish guy with me. Everyone in the car, except for me and the Turkish guy, was Muslims. And he turns to a couple of these security guys. He's like, anywhere Islam goes turns to shit. And the other guys, they turn around like, fuck you, man. I'll never forget that. He used to always say that.
Renaud says, DI was created after World War II for the countries of the Western world who won the war, so Westerners could move through, live and work freely in Western world countries. Look what it turned into. When Randy says, when you're broadcasting call to prayer over loudspeakers in Canada, you're showing disrespect to Canada, plain and simple. I agree. That's another form of agitprop, right? Like, you know what you're doing. The only difference is you're not from here. You're not one of us yet. So, that actually is, Randy, you gave me something. Thank you. I'm going to put that in my notes because, yeah, like broadcasting a call to prayer in a city that is not Muslim is agitprop. You're agitating the people there purposely to draw a reaction. And you can't tell me otherwise because there's absolutely no fucking need for it. Right? Set your alarms on your phones or on your watch if that matters, if it matters to you that much. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, I got to get rolling here. So I'm going to try. My scroll bar has disappeared. Oh, there it is. All right. Okay, guys, I'm just going to scroll down. I see a bunch of people talking amongst themselves. Debbie says, I saw a doctor from Nigeria, such a sweet man, and his name was Sunday. My doctor's Nigerian. I fucking love him. I see him at the gym all the time, and he's always like, good job. Like, you too. But he's very happy to see me in the gym because he's my doctor. Yeah, okay. Let's skip past a little bit. Cassie says, they use your compassion to get in your country and continue using it until they get their ways and power. Then you are called a racist when you realize you have been had. Let's end there. Because that is unfortunately the scenario that we are in. And I don't know how to fix this, man. Because the race question will inevitably comes into the picture. So it has to be approached delicately. And I don't think most people have the capacity to do that. Peyman?
No, I agree. I said they weaponize the Canadians' empathy against them. So the Canadians, they say, well, I don't like that we have 50 million, well, that's extreme, 5 million immigrants coming in our country,
Yeah.
But I don't want to risk being racist, so let's just let them keep flooding in. Where the right answer is no, like, get the F out of my country. You're not coming in. And, you second sons, like, get the F out of our cities. We don't want that.
Yeah.
This is the acceptable Overton window. I'm doing this with my hands.
Yeah. No, but that's it. But that goes back to the free speech discussion. Because then do we restrict? Like, what do we restrict, and how restrictive can we be, or should we be? Right? Because on the immigrant side, I fully understand the argument that, like, no, you're not going to broadcast your call to prayer. You know, you can't put your wife in a burlap sack if she doesn't want to be in one. You know, you can't do these things that are your cultural norms because that place isn't here. That's a valid argument. But then you have guys on the other side, on the opposite extreme, who are actually arguing for white Christian nationalism. And how do you restrict that? Because you really can't. You have to allow those ideas to at least pass through your society, right? You can't restrict what they have to say or limit it just because you disagree with it. But in that same token, when you have like a pressure cooker scenario like the one that we're in, where there are more and more people who are getting impatient with the multicultural situation, you know that those ideas are going to proliferate and catch fire with a certain amount or a certain group. And do you want that to happen? And do you want the overcorrection to happen? Because naturally, it's like the swinging pendulum, right? The pendulum went to the far left. As it swings back, it's going to go to the far right, because there will be an overcorrection to all this. So do we want that to happen? Because that overcorrection means the loss of human life 9 times out of 10. So I guess we'll leave it there, guys. Peyman, before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can find you.
Inlayterms.substack.com. Go watch my last interview I did with Miss Carrie Sakamoto, vaccine injured. She'll be testifying at the Allison Inquiry September 8th. Allison Inquiry. Try to support her. This is a pivotal moment in hopefully progress in Canadian history.
Guys, this is why I fucking love this man. I love this man so much. I watched that interview, dude. And for a guy who's not compassionate, you are probably the most compassionate person I have ever known. Inlay terms is so fucking important, guys, because Peyman does this all the time. He shines a spotlight on the people and the stories that matter. What Mark Carney ate for breakfast or his silly dance at whatever function, none of that shit fucking matters. What matters are the people who are suffering that we are not aware of. And that's what Inlay Terms does. It brings those stories to you. I will go as far as to say Inlay Terms is an infinitely more important podcast than Brave New Normal. So if you're subscribed to Brave New Normal, go and subscribe to Inlay Terms too. Inlayterms.substack.com. And if you have a limited amount of time and it's one or the other, listen to Inlay Terms, because Peyman is doing, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, he's doing God's work. So give him a follow, give him a subscribe, give him your email. He does not send spam or any of that dumb shit. I'm on his email list. I never get any shit that I don't like. So inlayterms.substack.com. You can sign up for free as a paid subscriber. As for me, I usually put up a free 30-minute preview of every one of our live stream recordings, and then the rest are for paid subscribers only. However, this week, I'm going to put it all out there for free because the Substack people missed it, and those are the people who are mostly paying for this shit anyways. But usually, I put up a free 30-minute preview, and if you want to watch the full recording, you have to be a paid subscriber at bravenewnormal.substack.com. It's $5 a month or $50 for the year. With your paid subscription, you receive early access to every episode of Brave New Normal. You get it Sunday nights. Everybody else gets it on Wednesday. Exclusive paid-only essays, and, of course, all of the live stream recordings with myself and the beautiful Peyman Askari. Starting next Friday, we're going back to 30-minute previews. I'm just putting this one out for free tonight because I fucked over this. Well, I didn't. Substack fucked over the Substack people. So we're back to free 30-minute previews next week. So if you want to watch the full recordings, or if you want to get the podcast episodes early, or if you want to receive exclusive paid-only content, bravenewnormal.substack.com, $5 a month, $50 for the year. Substack is so important, guys. The algorithms are garbage. They're bullshit. Substack, what's important about it is that there are no algorithms. Everything that I produce goes direct to your inbox. I do not send spam or calls to action or any of that dumb shit. So bravenewnormal.substack.com, inlayterms.substack.com. It's so nice to be doing this again on Fridays, brother, knowing I don't have anything to do tomorrow. So see you again next Friday.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Peace.